How did I make the first 2 Survivor games? All this and more coming up Behind the Mind. When creating a Survivor game, I tend to focus on 4 major aspects: the challenges, twists and themes, idols and advantages, and the format of the game. These 4 aspects that help guide me to create a game would not be rock solid until later on, but even as a young host, you could still see aspects of it emerge. For the first Survivor game, I wanted to primarily focus on the challenges and ensure that there was an increase of difficulty round by round. Because of the players I knew that I was going to be having for the first Survivor game, it was important that as the game progressed, the challenges got more difficult. Ultimately, this is a theme that stuck with me for every Survivor game, and I believe it's also true for the television show. Planting the idol for season 1 was very simple. I wanted it to be comedic, where these roommates passed it every day upon entering the house. So I knew from the beginning that I wanted it to be on the front porch in some aspect. And ultimately, I settled for the base of the guardrail on the front porch steps, used black tape so it blended in, covered it with some leaves, and it was good to go. It never got found until someone actually got a clue for it. Camouflage, ladies and gentlemen, it'll go a long way. As for additional twists of the first game, I knew I wanted a double vote in there, and also to get people hyped before the game started. So I just combined the 2 ideas, giving the players an incentive to work towards an advantage and start the game possibly with a leg up. Everyone was so excited whenever a new clue would get posted, and it really reminded them to get their head in the game, and conversations really started to flow because of it. There was no unique twist or special themes for the first season of Survivor. I knew the audience that I was working with, just 8 competitive roommates who wanted to outman each other. And because of that, they suffered with very difficult challenges, like eating raw eggs and being doused in ice. I believe that the biggest twist of the night was the format of the game, specifically how quickly the players merged. We only went 1 round before the 2 teams came together, and no one really seen it coming. All in all, season 1 of Survivor was short, sweet, simple, and really effective. It also produced a winner that was impressive and respected by everyone, including myself. It did surprise me on how smoothly everything went over, and based on it, I was convinced that I could go public with it and turn it into something bigger. So for season 2, my ultimate goal was to challenge myself and to create things that had never been seen before, new challenges, and also a new advantage. I continued with the idea that the challenges needed to be harder as the game progressed, but I made sure that they were less hazy. I knew that I wanted to challenge myself in this second game to create a brand new advantage. My inspiration came when I was watching one of my favorite shows, The Mole. And in the show, people are eliminated when they perform poorly on a quiz, but contestants can be given an exemption pass to be immune from the quiz, and they don't even have to take it. Therefore, they get to stay in the game. So this was my euphoric aha moment. I knew that I wanted players to be immune from tribal council, and the dilemma was they could use it on themselves or someone else. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into that. The person that you use it on is guaranteed to go to the next round. However, you could be letting your team down by not voting with them. And if you use it on another player, everyone might think that you're in an alliance with them. To me, this was the perfect first unique advantage to be introduced to Survivor Durant because it was so simple, yet it did require a lot of thought on how you were going to use it. I also knew how I wanted to introduce the exemption pass into this season. I wanted to make sure that the game would stay alive by introducing more than one idol and hiding them in landmark locations that people would naturally flock to first. so that way they would be active as soon as possible into the game. Once again, I knew that I wanted to introduce an advantage hidden in the city, so that way people would be excited and ready to play. So over the course of a week, I posted clues to its location daily. I think promotion is always important for something like this, so people actually show up and they're in the right state of mind. So for the most part, the advantage in the city did its job and promoted the game well. Now, the advantage itself was half of a super idol. I knew that I didn't want to just give a super idol. It's always important to make sure that your game is balanced and fair. Therefore, whoever found the advantage in the city still had to earn the other half. So my thought process on how they would have to earn that other half was to throw a challenge. The very first challenge. The one that matters the most. So are you willing to perform poorly in this very first challenge in front of everyone, doing the opposite instruction that you're given, taking that risk when first impressions are made to advance your game? It's very much risk versus reward, and the super idol is the most powerful advantage ever in Survivor's history, and it needs to be a high risk versus high reward. I knew that the second season was going to be more complex to design than the first because there was going to be more players. I knew that I wanted to introduce the first tribe swap twist with this season, where players would choose a bag and inside was a random buff. Folded into two of those buffs would be an exemption pass, one for each tribe. And I know that I'm saying the word buff a lot, but let's be real. Buffs were not in the budget. We used bandanas to keep track of who is on which tribe. Now, like I said, there was an exemption pass for each tribe. One of them got played. Briar used it to save Bobby. The other one was never found. They never unraveled their little bandana to discover it. Big yikes. I knew that I wanted the merge to be in the final 9 for a 7-person jury and a final 2. I am a big believer in a final 2. It's just the most appropriate and natural thing in a Survivor game to me. I want players to go as far as they possibly can go, and when there's only 2 people left, literally that is as far as they can go. We must shift the power to the jury. Plus, voting someone out in the final 3 is always gut-wrenching, and I love to see it. Another major aspect for the layout of this game. I knew that I wanted someone to return from Redemption Island during the tribe swap, so that way the dynamics of the game have the most potential to change. As a producer, you want to create and design a game and then sit back and watch the players play it, no longer interfering once the game has started. And you also need to keep in mind, how can the game stay fresh and not stagnant? For me, this made the most sense on how the game would stay fresh, is introducing a brand new player into the game and then changing up tribes completely. And that brings me to the last aspect of Season 2, the theme, Redemption Island. Like I said in the archived video, I didn't feel right about taking people's money and them immediately being voted out and then just going home. I wanted them to have another chance at getting back into the game, so that's why I decided to go with the Redemption Island twist. And I didn't realize until later how fitting of a title that would be for people's story like Dylan and Briar. I hope that helps you understand where my thought process was in creating Survivors 1 and 2. I believe the thing that has helped me the most become a good host for Survivor is easing myself into it, not just immediately swinging for the fences and overwhelming myself. Needed to start with the basics first. And you will see over time how my thought process becomes deeper and deeper. Thank you so much for listening. This has been